Bible-loving kids, what's up? What's going on? We are so excited to be with you today. And today, we got a very special story for you and a very special day planned. Today, we are going to be talking about David and Goliath, a good story, a classic, one that you guys should know, and we are so ready to tell you all about it. But first, let's get into worship.
Staring into your eyes makes my heart come alive. Suddenly brought to life when I met you. Reaching beyond the skies, running deep, stretching wide. Perfect love realized here with you. Come on now. Now this love is for real, you will never let go, never let go. Oh, and it's more than just words, love beyond my control, out of control. Hands up! This is real love, this is real love. Say this is real love, this is real love. Oh. Into your eyes makes my heart come alive. Suddenly brought to life when I met you. 1, 2, 3, jump! This is real love, this is real love. This is real love, this is real love. Oh.
mother in they church hat clap. Man, that sugar gave her color purple, coming back clap. When that whole week beat you up and stress you, but you hear that organ playing and remind you of your blessings. And on another note, she just hit another note. Chills down my spine, got me crying, make me overload. You don't know about it though. Old school church hymns, deacons get the humming, now the drummer finna burst in. Lordy, Lordy, Lord. Can you hear me now? Church close, sweater, you don't care, you just get it now. Testify how we made martyrs out of these fathers and rose up all of his daughters to glorify him with honor. Man, I swear Thomas Jones with her head did. Now it's flying everywhere, she don't care what her head did. She an egg, yeah, caught up in the egg, yeah. Probably why she country like Jesus, just reappeared, yeah.
Give me that God Almighty, that good old Bible, that old school doctrine. Give me that truth for the body, ain't nothing new about it, but it's still gonna power.
Church clap, let me hear the church clap. Church clap, let me hear the church clap. Church clap, let me hear the church clap. Church clap, let me hear the church clap.
I wanna be the type of dude to get the Lord on his feet. I wanna do the type of shows that the Lord wanna see. What I mean, if I can make the whole church clap, it ain't a clap in the heavens, then that clap's just a clap, clap. For his son glorified, sin mortified. The Holy Spirit going word, that truth ain't watered down. It's sound doctrine, gets birds in the coming out. Nothing wrong with singing loud, but that ain't where the power's found. The church has been clapping their weak sermons, leaving the weak hurt. No one's changed by Sunday service. We need discernment, check what you be affirming, cause the church can be full of members but empty in conversions. Preach the gospel and stand back, look for changed lives, not for hand claps. Love people well, oh they can't stand at the church, just the church with the words where we stand at.
Give me that God Almighty, that good old Bible, that old school doctrine. Give me that truth for the body, ain't nothing new about it, but it's still gonna power.
Church clap, let me hear the church clap. 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 Come on.
God's story, David and Goliath. So part of God's story is about the time David fought Goliath, and it begins like this. David was the youngest of 8 brothers. His job was being a shepherd, which meant he spent all day in a field watching sheep eat and roll around the grass. Meanwhile, some of his brothers were off with the Israeli army preparing for war against the Philistines. The Philistines were one of the toughest armies the people of Israel had to fight. So one day, David was taking food to his brothers because his dad asked him to. But when he got there, his brothers accused him of coming so he could watch the fight instead of the sheep. Since David knew in his heart he was just obeying his dad, he didn't mind being misunderstood. Anyway, while David was there, he saw a huge Philistine man, more than 9 feet tall, step onto the field between the two armies. He was wearing a thick helmet and armor and carrying huge weapons. His name was Goliath, and he was definitely used to being the winner. David found out that Goliath had been stepping onto the field like this every morning for the past 40 days and saying, "Give me a man and let us fight each other." But nobody from Israel was brave enough to fight him, even the king. Well, David didn't like that this giant was intimidating the Israelites. After all, they were God's special family. And because God was with the Israelites, they could have courage in any situation. So David, who wasn't even a soldier, told the king, "I'll fight against him." Nah, the king thought David was too small, but he really wanted someone to fight Goliath. So he gave in. And David knew he wasn't strong enough to beat Goliath by himself, but he believed God would be with him. So he said, "The Lord will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." The king hoped David was right. He even had his own weapons and armor put on David, but they didn't fit him. David decided to go into battle in his regular clothes. That's how sure he was that God would help him. Anyway, David went to a nearby stream and chose 5 smooth stones to use with his slingshot. Then he walked onto the battlefield to meet the massive Goliath. When Goliath saw how wimpy David looked, he was furious. He thought he'd get to fight the Israelites' strongest warrior. He said to David, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? I'll give your flesh to the birds and wild animals. David might have looked like a wimp, but he was actually really brave. In fact, he was so brave that when he was taking care of sheep, he fought off bears and lions. Because God helped him protect his sheep, David knew God would help him protect this special family. David said, "You come at me with a sword, but I come at you with the name of the Lord Almighty." He was explaining to Goliath that God was more powerful than anything. He also added that he would feed Goliath's flesh to the birds, which made the giant even more mad. Then David took a stone, put it in the slingshot, and slung it at Goliath. Goliath didn't even get a chance to swing a sword because the stone hit him right in the forehead and sunk in deep. He face-planted straight into the ground. Nobody could believe it. Then David ran over, took hold of the giant's sword, and drew it from the sheath. He took the sword and cut off Goliath's head. David carried the head all the way back to Jerusalem. And when the Philistine army realized Goliath was dead, they started running away like a bunch of scaredy cats. The Israelites chased the Philistines, shouting loudly. They had won. God used David, who was just an average kid, to rescue his people. And that's the story of David and Goliath. So, in case you missed it, here's the quick version. David was a shepherd. He brought his brothers lunch. He saw Goliath. Goliath scared everybody. David wasn't scared. He knew God was stronger. David fought Goliath. He used one stone. God helped him kill Goliath. The Israelites won. God's people were saved. And that's a part of God's story.
Hey guys, today I'm going to read the story of David and Goliath. The Philistines were the enemies of God and God's people, and their army came to fight King Saul's army. A giant soldier named Goliath would come every day and yell, "Bring out your best soldier to fight me. If your strongest soldier defeats me, we will be your slaves. But if I defeat him, you will be our slaves." You see, King Saul's soldiers, they were afraid. They were afraid of Goliath because he was big, and they did not want to fight the giant. But meanwhile, there was young David, and he was taking food to his brothers. They were soldiers who were in King Saul's army. And when David reached the camp, he saw the giant Goliath. David heard the giants yell and his challenge to the people. And David said, "I am not afraid to fight the giant." King Saul called for David and said, "You cannot fight the giant. You are too young. You are too small." But David replied, "God will be with me." So King Saul gave his armor to David, but it was too big and too heavy. And David wasn't used to wearing it. And so David said, "No, I'm going to take care of my own weapon to fight this giant." And so David went to a nearby stream, and he picked up 5 smooth stones, and he stood before Goliath. The giant laughed at him and made fun of him, but David didn't care. He said, "I come before you in the name of the Lord who rules over all." And David put 1 stone into his sling and ran towards the giant and let the stone fly. It hit Goliath in the forehead and he fell to the ground. The Philistines saw that their hero was dead and they ran away afraid. But you see, no matter what we face, no matter what's in front of us, no matter how big it is or how scary it seems, our God is with us. And you and I are never too small or too young that God can't come in and take care of the thing that's in front of us. He helps us fight any giant, any trouble, anything that we face, because God is so good. I hope you enjoyed this story today. See you next time.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jared.
I'm Andrew.
And we're here to tell you a Bible story. Our story is about one of the most famous heroes in all of the Bible, King David. But our story begins long before David is king, so let's rewind to when David was just a boy. Beep boop. Now, David was the youngest of 8 brothers, so he had to do the jobs that nobody else wanted to do, like taking care of his father's sheep. Gross.
Hey, sheep's gotta do what a sheep's gotta do.
It turned out that David was actually a really good shepherd. In fact, one day, a lion attacked the sheep. Meow. What was that?
You said it was like a cat attack, right? Like,
No, a lion, a ferocious lion.
oh, like a...
Much better. But David fought back and he killed the lion.
I'm dead.
Then, another day, a bear attacked the sheep.
Oh.
What was that?
I can barely do that sound.
But David fought back and he killed the bear too.
I'm dead too.
While David was taking care of his father's sheep, his brothers had a much more important job. They were in the Israelite army, preparing for an epic battle.
Get to the chopper!
What was all of that?
What are you talking about? You said they're in a battle! Epic battle!
Yes, but this took place a long time ago.
Okay.
Bible times.
Yeah.
No guns, no bombs, no choppers.
What'd they have?
It's like swords.
Wait a minute, what about guns that shoot swords?
That's not a thing.
What if there was a gun that shoots a sword and that pulls the trigger of another gun that shoots 2 swords?
Let's just get back to the story.
Okay, yeah, sorry, back to the story.
While his brothers were preparing for this epic battle with swords, David's father was concerned about them. So he sent David on an errand to bring them some food. David gathered some grain and some bread and some cheese.
Oh, he brought in some Lunchables. What a nice brother, that's so nice. Dude, were they pizza Lunchables? Those are the best kind. Pizza Lunchables, totally the best. Best brother ever.
Okay, Andrew, once again, this takes place in Bible times.
Okay.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
They did not have Lunchables back then.
Okay, hit the brakes. So first you're telling me this, they don't have guns back then.
True.
Then you're telling me they don't have Lunchables back then.
Also correct.
Next thing you're gonna say is, oh, they don't have cell phones either.
Andrew, they didn't have cell phones back then either.
I knew it!
When David brought the food to his brothers, they were all hiding because out on the battlefield there was a giant with a massive sword. He was shielded in bronze.
Bronze.
He stood 10 feet tall.
10 feet.
And his name was...
Goliath.
Why are you talking like that?
That's how giants talk.
And how do you know this?
I saw it on the History Channel.
When David arrived on the battlefield, Goliath was insulting the people of God, even cursing God himself.
Oh, Goliath's a cusser.
None of the other soldiers wanted to fight Goliath because they were all too afraid. But David wasn't. David knew with God on his side, Goliath didn't stand a chance. David came up with a plan. He went down to a stream and he chose 5 smooth stones.
Okay, here I am at the stream, need 5 smooth stones. Let's see, 1, okay. That's pretty smooth, keep that one. Okay. 2, nope, too jaggedy. Let's see. Whoa,
Andrew, what is that?
it's a fish. I grabbed the fish on accident, what do I do?
Just put it back.
What?
Well, just put it back.
Okay, let's see, that one's pretty good. Let's see, oh hey, this one's squishy.
That's a frog.
Ah, I'm keeping it.
Well, no, don't
Okay.
you...
And see, good to go. Let's go kill a giant.
David marched to the battlefield right toward the giant. When Goliath saw him coming, he started to make fun of David. But David wasn't bothered by what Goliath said because David knew who God said he was. And with God on his side, Goliath didn't stand a chance. David reached into his bag and he pulled out a stone. Still got the frog, don't you?
Yeah, he's real cute.
Andrew, could you just get rid of the frog, please?
Excuse me, his name is Carlos.
Andrew, could you get rid of Carlos, please?
Okay, fine.
Wait, no, Andrew, spit it out. Spit the frog out. Andrew, spit it out. Spit him out. Did you just eat that frog?
That's really salty.
David reached in his pouch and he pulled out a stone. He put it in his sling and he spun it around above his head. Just then, Goliath drew his massive sword and charged. The giant stormed across the battlefield right towards David. But David held his ground because he knew who God said he was. As Goliath got closer, David began to swing faster and faster and faster, waiting for the perfect shot. He took a deep breath and he let it rip. What was that?
What are you talking about? You said he let it rip, right?
No, like he threw the rock. He let it fly.
Oh, like
Yes.
that kind of let it? I'm sorry, that's my bad. That's me. I'm sorry. Keep going. Just get back to the story.
The stone flew through the air and hit Goliath right between the eyes. The stone sunk deep into his head and Goliath fell to the ground. Andrew, you okay?
I'm dead.
Then how are you talking?
I'm a ghost.
Come on, man. Let's finish the story.
Okay.
So David reached down, picked up Goliath's sword, and he chopped off his head.
That's a lot of blood. Oh, almost done. He's out.
David reached down and picked up Goliath's head, and he showed it to the armies of the Philistines. That day, David showed... That day, David showed everyone that even though he was just a boy, he could still do the great things that God had planned for him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of David and Goliath.
What is up, living kids? What's going on? Today, you're back with me, Carly, Crafts with Carly, and today we talked about the story of David and Goliath. And so, of course, the only thing that is right that we should do is David's sling that he used to kill Goliath. And now today for this craft, what you're gonna need is you're gonna need 2 coffee straws. Now, ask these, you can get them from your parents, they'll know what they are. Some tape, scissors, Sharpie, and some aluminum foil. Yes. So, for today's craft, you guys, it's gonna be pretty simple but pretty fun and gonna look super dope at the end. So to start off, you're gonna take your 2 coffee straws, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of cut them in thirds. So one of them, first, before you do that, first you're gonna cut one in half. There you go, so you can have like a bottom piece, right? And then the other ones, you're gonna cut into like 2 separate little things. Just cut it in half so you can have 2 top pieces to your sling. So once you got 3 kind of even pieces, 1, 2, 3, you're gonna tape them all together to make like, it looks like a Y, pretty much like that, to make like a sling shape, okay? So you're gonna get your tape, Scotch tape, whatever you're feeling. You're gonna tape them all together into like a Y shape. So it can look like David's sling, duh. And if you need to use more than one piece of tape, it's fine. Just make sure it's secure so that when you're slinging stuff, it won't go anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Okay, and so after you tape everything, it might look a little messy, but it's okay, don't worry about it. Just know that you have like a Y shape right now. And so, to make the top part of your sling, where David actually slung the rocks, you're gonna get your aluminum foil, right? And you're gonna tear off a piece. Now be careful because when you're tearing off aluminum foil, there's sharp pieces. So if you need your parents to do it, it's all good. So once you get your aluminum, once you get your foil, you're gonna wrap it around the top. create like kind of like a bar. So that you can put your rocks in them. Maybe not actual rocks. It's dangerous to throw rocks at people. Okay, so then it kind of looks like this, a bar across the top, like a Y. It's like that. And then, if you want to personalize it, since it was David's sling, how about you just write David across the top? You know what I mean? D-A-V-I-D apostrophe S, because it is David's sling. And if you want to like, so you can see the lettering better, just get something flat, and you can get all the creases out of the foil so you can actually see the lettering. And so then, the fun part for you guys is you're gonna take some more foil, and you're just gonna make tiny little balls. And these balls are the little rocks that David used to kill Goliath. Let's make 5 because he did indeed have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, kids, and there you have it. There is your David sling for the day with your little rock things that David shot at Goliath. And honestly, guys, this just shows you that no matter who you are, you just gotta be brave, you gotta be a warrior, and you gotta trust in God, because David was like this compared to this Goliath. And it was really scary for him, and he didn't really know what was gonna happen, but he did know that he could have trust in God. And he knew that through the entire thing, he had to be a warrior, and he had to know that God was right by his side the entire time. Use this sling as an example that you are strong no matter what, because God is with you all the time. Bye, living kids.
Hey, living kids!
Hey, everybody!
Today we have another memory verse for you guys.
Yeah, with me, Billy.
And me, David.
We're so excited for this one.
Today's verse is from Joshua 1:9.
Joshua! Oh my gosh, is this from my friend from school? His name is Joshua too.
No, Joshua is a book in the Bible.
Oh, in the Bible.
Yeah.
Well, this verse says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous."
Wait, dangerous? What? I don't want to be dangerous.
No, not dangerous, courageous. Courageous means to be brave and bold and do things strongly.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
So it says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged.
Wait, discouraged? That's kind of a big word.
Well, discouraged basically means the opposite of courageous. It means to be sad almost, and not brave and not bold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it says, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, so let's say it one more time all together. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That's exactly right. So this week, kids, be strong and courageous. Be brave, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.